Hey guys, welcome to F9 TV. My name is JXL. Welcome to another episode of the Gameweek recap. So on the Gameweek recap, I just go over all of the week's game on the Barclays and come here, give you my opinion, and we talk about it. So make sure to like and subscribe. I've got more content coming up for you on this channel. So if you guys can like and subscribe, that'll be greatly appreciated. Now let's start off with the first game of the weekend. It's all over, Jeff. It's all over. All right, so let's start off with Liverpool. They played Everton, Merseyside derby. The game ended up finishing 2-2, but the actual score is literally the last thing anybody was really speaking about when this game ended. So it came out during the game in about the 6-8 minute mark. Liverpool defender Virgil van Dijk with a challenge from Jordan Pickford in the box. He ended up tearing his ACL. I think it's a grade 3 tear. So it's looking like he could be out anywhere between 6 to 12 months. It hasn't been specified how long it's actually going to be, but that is the rough guideline for that kind of tear in order for someone to be back playing. So basically, he's out for the whole season. But we're effed. We are absolutely effed. Jordan Pickford, I'm trying. I don't try to blame players for stuff that happens on the pitch because it is a contact sport. So I try not to get too much on players for injuring other players. But honestly, that challenge was nothing short of a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. You are a goalkeeper. Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you, like, oh my God. It was a awful challenge. Like, there was just no need for it at all. And now it's taking out a man's whole entire season. That's just gone. His whole entire season is wrapped, is done. Like, he won't be back playing until he's like 31 years old. And he's like, these are the prime years for somebody. It's a real shame. I can't really put into words exactly how I feel, man. I just know that I'm devastated. And I know that with Liverpool as a club, we're fucked, man. We're honestly fucked without him. There's Liverpool before Virgil van Dijk and there's Liverpool after Virgil van Dijk. They are just two completely different teams, man. And since this man has been at this club, we have been nothing but winners. Nothing but winners since he's been here. Champions League, Premier League, Club World Cup, Super Cups. Yeah, it's just not looking good with him out. Now, after the return of football, I think there's a stat going around saying that Liverpool have conceded the most amount of goals. So you can see for the last few months, our defence has already been shaky. And now we've lost the key component of our defence. We've lost the best defender at the club. I don't see a way that we can go on like long runs in order to secure this Premier League. The Premier League is now wide open for anybody to come and take it. Now that Virgil's out, all we have are senior centre-backs are Joe Gomez and Joe Matip. And those two have never started together. Never. Relying on those two players to pretty much carry us for the rest of the season. They're both good defenders. One's having a really hard time. One's coming back from injury. He was very injury prone himself. And then after those two, our next best centre-back is our best central defensive midfielder in Fabinho. Now, I've seen him play centre-back, 3 times. He's always looked very good and very comfortable as centre-back. I don't necessarily worry about him dropping into the centre-back role, but you prefer to have him in his best position, which is CDM. After him, our next best centre-back is honestly one of our kids from our academy, whether it be Billy Camatio, Reece Williams, Sepp van der Berg, Nat Phillips, like who knows? Like, it has to be one of them to step up and take that role, and that's just not a situation that you want to be in. So the board definitely need to have a look at replacing a centre-back, whether it be somebody like just temporary or they start thinking long-term vision-wise. Let's just touch on the game besides Virgil. So let's touch on the game. So the game started off, Liverpool started off great. We scored within the first 2 minutes. And then Virgil van Dijk gets injured. When he got injured with the challenge, so the whistle blew for offside. Jordan Pickford wasn't booked or sent off or anything for that challenge. Because I know what he did, a tackle was a footballing action. And because it's after the whistle, you can't book him on that because it's not within play. But that's one of them ones you have to have a look at it and just be like, no, that is reckless. That is reckless play. That is absolutely reckless. And it's a red card offence. He should not have been on that pitch. So Virgil goes out. Joe Gomez comes in off the bench to play alongside Joe Matip. And then a header comes in and Everton score through Michael Keane. That goal was like in slow motion for me. As soon as Michael Keane went up in the air, I pretty much knew it was going in because I'm not saying this is Adrian's fault. I'm not going to blame him for the goal. I have an agenda, but it's not really an agenda. He's just a terrible, terrible goalkeeper who should not be playing for Liverpool Football Club. But anyways, but I just know the kind of keeper that he is. I knew that goal would go in because with Adrian, if you connect cleanly with the ball and it is on target, it's going to go in. He's not going to be able to save it. He ain't got the credentials for that. So yeah, they square it up to make it 1-1 going into half time. In the second half, a goal out of nowhere, beautiful strike from Mo Salah made it 2-1. And then, oh my, Dan Calvert-Lewin, this guy, if he wasn't on my fantasy team, I'd be pulling my hairs out, bro. This guy, like, I ain't seen... This guy jumps in the air like he's Michael Jordan. Like, I don't understand. That header was just nuts to me. That kid is nuts. And he carries on his hot scoring form. He's currently the Premier League's top goal scorer. Then the game goes into the dying minutes of the game. Liverpool are looking to score. Everton are looking to hold on. You have Thiago's on the ball and he plays a beautiful disguised pass to Mane. And then Mane crosses it across the goal. Jordan Henderson gets to the end of it. Pickford gets his hand to it, but dinosaur arms goes straight through his hand and it goes in. And I'm now elated. I'm jumping. I'm celebrating. I'm thinking we've won it 3-2. This is exactly what we needed. A victory after that drubbing we got from Aston Villa. And then as I'm celebrating, I think to myself, there's this thing called VAR. So let me calm down a bit. Now, I'm thinking this goal's not going to be disallowed because it's not offside. It can't be offside. And then they're showing the images and I'm like, yeah, that's not offside. That can't be offside. And then it's going on a little bit longer. I'm like, no, do not tell me. And then they called it was offside. I do not understand how the hell that is offside. I do not get it at all. How the hell was that offside, man? Oh man, I'm one of them people, yeah, that's not a VAR like critical thing. VAR is ruining the game, but the way we are utilizing VAR is abysmal, man. You have this technology that you can use to your benefit and you're just messing it up by drawing these stupid lines, bruv. Like, I don't even know where these lines end and begin anymore. Like, I don't understand. You can manipulate these lines to see what it is that you want to see. The way I feel like you should have been using VAR is if it's a bit higgy-haga and you're not really sure, then you go and check it out. All you had to do, honestly, was just look at it. Just look at the freeze frame it from when the ball leaves Thiago's foot. Just keep the still frame, look at it. Just look at it and go, is he offside? No. Not by drawing the line and be like, oh, yeah, look, from the shoulder to here, so he's offside. No, man, All right, let's go on to another game that happened that same day, which was Arsenal versus Man City. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I have a spotlight out on Mikel Arteta. This is not me saying, oh, Mikel Arteta is terrible or Mikel Arteta is not good or like downplaying his name. I just have certain kind of managers that just style of plays that just don't sit well with me. They just don't sit well with me at all. Certain kind of managers. So if anybody knows me or not, I'm a big critic of Diego Simeone. And from Arteta, honestly, I'm just seeing Sangria Sam Allardyce. Because that Man City game, now understand is Man City, so there should be an era of caution when you're going to play up against them. But if we're really being honest, Man City are sluts at the back. Honestly, they're sluts. And you can get at them. You can honestly get at them. Everybody does. Leicester banged 5 goals against them a few weeks ago, and Leicester have lost 2 games in a row. So they're sluts. You can get at them. And Arsenal never once tried to get at them. Like, honestly, like, they were decent towards the end of the first half, but then for 40 minutes of the second half, did absolutely nothing. Pepe was embarrassing in this game. For some reason, Willian played as a false 9. And like, when I saw the starting 11, I thought Oba was playing up front. I was like, oh, they're going to go for it, play Oba up front. And then I see Willian as a false 9. And then you have Aubameyang on the left-hand side. He's getting body checked by Kyle Walker. Like, what's he going to do against Kyle Walker? I didn't get the tactics. I didn't get the setup. And just the idea of, like, it was like they were protecting a 1-0 defeat the way they were going about the second half. I'm going to keep a close eye on Mikel Arteta because I'm seeing there's certain things I like about him. Like, I understand you have like a foundation of being solid defensively is cool, but you're toothless in attack. And that for me just doesn't sit right with me for the kind of club I believe Arsenal are in the history that they have and the kind of players that you have as well. Like, you have one elite attacker. You have one elite attacker and a couple other semi-decent attackers. You should be doing more. You should be doing more against this Man City team. Like, I get it. Being solid defensively is good. It's something that Arsenal have needed for years. But you're also Arsenal Football Club. There's got to be some bite, some vim when you're attacking. It's just that simple. The next game was Man United versus Newcastle. Man United ended up winning 4-1. Now, when the team sheet came out for this game, I was dead. I was absolutely dead. Because I looked at the Man United starting 11 and I was like, Fred is starting. McTominay is starting. Mata is starting. Dan James is starting. The Premier League wants people to pay £15 to watch Fred, McTominay, Mata, and Dan James starting. Nah. Like, I was dead. But Mata actually had a very good game. Like, obviously, Mata's lost his legs, but the intelligence is still there and you can see it. It's a very classy footballer. And United were pretty much comfortable after a while. I think it was the game's turning point was the substitution of Donny van der Beek. It's 4 games now for them and he hasn't started one of those games and I don't understand why. Now, obviously, Oli could be like, listen, I'll bring him on in order to change the game, which he kind of helped do. But still, that is a very good midfielder that should be a starter. He's not a bench player. So the game started off with Luke Shaw own goal. I've looked at this own goal like 3 times and I don't understand how it goes in. Like, I don't understand at all, like, how it goes in. It's a cross. Luke Shaw gets his foot out. It's his strong foot. And then it goes into the near post and just goes in. Like, I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. So Newcastle go a goal up. Then Harry Maguire ends up scoring a header from the corner in order to make it 1-1. Which is, I guess, really good for Harry Maguire. He's had a pretty awful few weeks since the summer, the beginning of the season, getting sent off for England. He's had some horrific few weeks as a footballer. So good for him. I guess every single British pundit has been telling us, we got to think about his mental health, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, good on him to get the goal, I guess. And then literally every single Maguire family member, like, was tweeting about it, was attacking all the trolls, as they like to call it. I'm telling you, every single Maguire, his mum, probably Sue Maguire, Ben Maguire, like Lizzie Maguire, every Jerry Maguire, every single Maguire on the planet. They came to the defense of Harry when he scored that header. And then the second goal came in the second half. Bruno missed the penalty. Now he ends up scoring, which doesn't help with my agenda. A very good goal, to be honest. Great build-up play. And a great pass by Marcus Rashford, star boy. And then Bruno tucks it in. It was a really, really good goal. Yeah, so I'll have less to say about Bruno if he continues scoring them kind of goals. And scoring them kind of goals and playing. He played all right. He didn't play that great, but he played all right. So yeah, he scored. And then Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he scored the third goal. I think this is his first ever professional goal. During the internationals, Aaron changed the flag on his IG from England to Congo, DRC flag. You see what happens when you accept the motherhood? You see what happens when you go back home? You score your first ever professional goal. That's what happens. That's what happens. And then the fourth goal was, I think it was a pass by Bruno. It's a really good pass to put Rashford through one-on-one. And then he tucks it in to make it 4-1. Rashford was playing up front in this game, had 2 assists and a goal. Great performance by him up top. He is a star boy, like I've been saying. I bet you, if anyone's ever listened to F9, yeah, I bet you know, like, if you know Steve, he was probably like seething watching Rashford turning that performance, knowing that Martial's at home because he can't keep his hands off people. But yeah, good win for Man United. I think it's something that they needed. They've got a tough run of games coming up. So they've got Chelsea, PSG, they've got PSG, Chelsea, Leipzig, somebody else, and I think Tottenham at some point. So they've got some difficult run of games happening. Now, what normally happens is Ollie will be on the chopping block. So what happens is Ollie gets to the chopping block and then these players decide, no, we don't want Ollie fired. We like it. It's cool here. He smiles all the time. We can do whatever we want. And he doesn't really train us that hard. That we just go in there, do a couple flicks, blah, 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 do some shooting drills, and we're all good. So they honestly, anytime he's on the chopping block, these players are like, they ball out. So I actually think United are going to pick up some points that we don't expect them to pick up. Like, I think they will ultimately lose to PSG. But if they draw or get like a victory, I won't be too surprised. I think they probably will get a result at Chelsea, get a result at Leipzig. Like, they're just going to go through like this run. They're going to pick up points to keep Ollie in the job. They do it all the time. It's going to happen. So yeah, they've got an interesting run of games coming up. So the next game to touch on would be Chelsea versus Southampton. That game ended up 3-3. Chelsea took the lead. They went 2-0 up. Both goals by Timo Werner. Both really well taken goals by him. Someone said the other day he plays like Shane Long. And I can't get it out of my head. Because he does. He really plays like... He plays like him. And he honestly does. Like, the running style is exactly the same. Obviously, he's a much better finisher than a Shane Long. But, yeah, he scored 2 really great goals to put Chelsea up. And then Chelsea did. Like, honestly, I don't know what else to tell you. Kai Havertz is on the ball. He gets pressed out of his socks. The ball's put through to Danny Ings. He goes around Kepa, makes it 2-1. They come back in the second half, and Zuma does some necks. He does like a back pass that's too short. Kepa comes out to clear it, completely misses the ball. Che Adams chasing it. And then Kepa slides back in, but like hits the post. And then Che Adams just like puts in the roof of the net. Like, honestly, Kepa is he's the worst player to ever play in the Premier League. You know, one time Steve on the F9 show said Alexis Sanchez is the worst transfer ever in the history of the Premier League. It's Kepa. Kepa is the worst transfer ever. He literally does nothing well. He does nothing good. Like, nothing good. Like, even when they've brought in a new keeper, that keeper's just got an injury. It is now your turn to, like, just show them, listen, I know you brought in this new keeper, but Like, trust me, I'm the guy for you. You just fuck up again. Like, honestly, man, like, Kepa, he's so bad, man. There are certain things in Chelsea that are just true. You know, like there's just certain things in Chelsea that are just true to life. Racism, sacking managers, and Mason Mount's gonna play. Those are like the three core fundamentals of Chelsea Football Club. It seems like this brother Mason Mount, he will play right back, centre midfield, on the left, on the right, as a DM, as an 8, as a centre forward. It does not matter. Frank will find a way to force this kid into the starting 11. I actually thought this week would be the week that he'll be dropped. I thought maybe Ziyech is back, he'll start. Callum Hudson-Odoi's played well. Maybe he will start on the wide positions. But no. Mason Mount. Mason Mount. I'm not here to say Frank Lampard should get fired or anything in that regard, but I never understood in the first place how Frank Lampard was qualified to have this job in the first place, besides being a Chelsea legend, because what has he achieved as a manager to get this position in the first place? So I'm not surprised if Frank doesn't do that well as a Chelsea manager, because I don't see how he was ever qualified for this role in the first place. He just that's not on Frank. That's not on Frank if he's not doing well as a Chelsea manager. He was never qualified for this position in the first place. And then another game that happened, another like this whole weekend, nothing but goals, man. Nothing but goals. There hasn't been a single 0-0 in all 5 game weeks, which is actually crazy. It's nothing but goals. So in this game, it was Tottenham versus West Ham. By like 20 minutes, Spurs were 3-0 up. Goals by Son from an assist from Harry Kane. Son and Kane, they're looking like Kobe and Shaq. Then their 1-2 is Kobe and Shaq. It is disgusting. And then Harry Kane himself, he ended up scoring a brace. Harry Kane has 5 goals, 6 assists this season, something crazy like that. Last year, I said on his day, there's not a better striker in the world than Harry Kane. I was made to look silly because Harry Kane was pretty much injured for a lot of last season, and then when he came back, he didn't look that well. And then Lewandowski scored like 260 goals last season. So I ended up looking like an idiot for saying Harry Kane's the best striker in the world. But on like a fit Harry Kane on his day, it's a 1A, 1B type of thing with him and Lewandowski, who I personally think is the best. But only because I watch Barclays week in and week out, and I watch Bundesliga games when I can be bothered to watch Bundesliga games, because the highlight that they play in that league is disgusting. And I just think I'm just more impressed at people who can do it in the Prem, because I just think the Prem is a much tougher league to score in than the Bundesliga. And Spurs were looking good. I was thinking, you know what, Spurs might have a little title challenge in them. They might have a little title challenge in them. And then, like Chiellini says, it's the history of the Tottenham, because they just Spursed it. They went all Spursy on it. Like, I think in the second half, it was like the 82nd minute, right? They're 3-0 up. That they had the lead since the 20th minute. It's the 82nd minute, and Valbuena scores a header, and it's now 3-1. I think consolation goal. And then just when you think there's no issue, you have to remind yourself, oh yeah, Davinson Sanchez plays football for this club, and if Davinson Sanchez is on the pitch, anything is possible. So what happens? He ends up scoring an own goal, and it's now 3-2. And then Gareth Bale, does so well to beat 2 players and basically be sort of one-on-one with the keeper. And all he has to do is just slot it in, and he ends up just dragging the shot. Now, I'm not going to kill it too much like everybody else does, because he did really well to manufacture that opportunity for himself, but he should have scored it to make it 4-2. And then in the dying minutes, West Ham have a free kick, and then I think Harry Winks tries to clear but doesn't, and then somehow it ends up in Lanzini's feet, and he just puts his foot straight through it. Top left-hand corner, absolute bullet, and it is 3-3. For like the last 15 minutes of that game, the game management by Spurs was so bad, man. 72nd minute, something along those lines, Ndombele came off. So to me, as an Ndombele fan, he won 3-0 today. He was great again in this game. Took him off, brought on Harry Winks, who could not keep the ball to save his life in that game. That is your only positive attribute that you have. You literally provide nothing else. And he could not keep the ball. And Spurs just couldn't keep the ball. They were still trying to go for another goal, trying to get, Kane was trying to get a hat-trick. And they were within their rights to do so, but it just gave West Ham that belief that they can get back into it. And they ended up getting back into it to make it 3-3. Just another crazy game of the Barclays Premier League, man. That's pretty much it for this week's Game Week recap. Once again, thank you for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. More content coming. Thank you.